Welcome to the Board of Supervisors meeting for July 13th, 2026. Would you please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay.
I'd like to,
I just want to mention first that the board has met in executive session before this meeting to discuss personnel, real estate and litigation matters. At this time, I believe we have a motion to amend the agenda.
yes, I'd like to amend the agenda to add action item E, which would be Bucks County Consortium 2026 to 2027 fuel bid.
I have a motion.
Second. Sorry, Bill.
I call a motion. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
And if I may just add, the reason for the addition of this item was just an administrative oversight. It's just something that's time sensitive that has to be done before the end of the month.
Okay. Presentation of public hearings, land development. Presentation of the 2026 Tri-Municipal 4th of July Parade Awards. Ms. Gelb, would you do the honors, please? Of course.
So our first.
I'm sorry, you did great.
And I know you had a bunch of people in your pool. Going to give, you each have to wear one of these tonight for our photos. Okay. One. I would greatly appreciate it.
Great.
But she said we'll be there. I figured she would be here too.
Does someone come?
What's this? Oh, wait, maybe. Hello? Yes, yay.
Okay. You can take all.
Jingle, jingle.
You can have them in the pool next year.
Yeah, all right.
Put the whole thing around your neck. Right?
Let's go front. You guys don't mind. Somebody use my. Thing. Let me think about that. Would be
Stand
fun.
here.
Sitting down or in the back up here?
We'll just stand up here.
I think it's tall for us to come down. We'd be really short.
Put your head in between the shoulders.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
She can see.
Okay. Thank you so much. Both people in the trade. Thank you.
Keep dropping.
Everyone gets one.
Yes, everyone gets one. They must wear it next year.
To show you the winners.
That's the rule. All right, and finishing second place is the Bucks County Dairy Association.
Whoa.
You're gonna vote your pictures too.
Yes.
I think it's not our cow. You have to
Wow.
Well, she made a long trip and it was well worth it.
What's the cow's name?
Dolly.
Dolly. Dolly the cow.
Really? There you go.
There you go. Now I want to have a party that I need a cow.
I do.
Special picture. Thank you.
Thank you. Everyone loved the cow. They did.
Get your battery's low.
So I don't know if there's somebody family. We have never met before. I know. Thank you. Thank you so very much. I'm really appreciate it. So let's, you guys. I didn't bring the children. Sorry, what I do it.
Can you tell us who these people are?
Who are they?
These are private citizens. Calvetti family, yeah. Calvetti family, and they.
Oh, yep.
We may have.
Okay. Ah.
Yes.
They have a very much.
Love that. Thank you.
Hey. Thank you. Thank you for
Thank you.
participating.
Okay, then if it's not
Okay.
that. Sorry.
Moving on, thank you everyone for participating in the parade. Our next order of business is B, policy discussion on a data center use.
I put a presentation, a memo in the packet for everybody to take a look at. So,
You're gonna need to pull the microphone
Okay.
a little closer so everyone can hear you and you make it onto the tape.
okay. I put a memo in the information packet for
Yes,
everybody
we
to take a
received
look
that.
at. So basically, what I've learned through a number of seminars is there are three components to a data center in terms of the effect on the community. One is the water usage, one is the electric usage, and the other is the noise. So one of the things that, the reason I set up this memo this way was I had gone to one seminar from PICO on what they're doing to manage the electric, the increase in electric usage for the data centers. So it looks, based on the information that I got from the seminars and research, that the electric component of the data center is really mindfully, is being carefully regarded by the energy companies. They know this is coming. They're planning on how to manage that increase in load. One of the things that PICO talked about was how to manage that load without being interfering so much with the cost to the consumer. So these are things that they're actually considering when they look at this overall. One of the very first seminars I went to, somebody from PICO had talked about this was inevitable, the cost of electricity was going to increase. But what I've seen over time is that there's such a backlash from consumers, obviously, especially residential consumers, that they're doing a lot more investigation in how to manage that load overall, so that if there are increases in overall consumption, it's not going to impact the residents as much as they originally thought, which I thought was really a positive, was positive. The other part of that, which I think is also being managed by the water authorities and the river basin commissions, is water use. So they're not unprepared for what's happening with this either. And like this was a memo from, or a booklet from the North Wales Water Authority, where they discuss the impact of water and how they're really monitoring where the supplies come from. They're looking at river access, general water from not necessarily wells, but public water, and also ground surface water, like creeks and things, where the impact is going to be a lot more significant. So that, from what I gather, is discouraged because it can't, especially during dry periods, it can't handle that much water going in and out of smaller creeks and tributaries. So the smaller floodways should have be impacted less than say the rivers. The one seminar I went to, there were representatives from both river basins commissions, and both of them said that they monitor water use overall. They're really well aware of how this is impacting, but they feel comfortable that they can monitor this properly so that they can make sure that there's enough water for obviously the regular consumer as well as for the data center. The one part of this that's really much more difficult is the issue of the noise and from the batteries and from that kind of storage. That is falling on all local municipalities. It's not regulated by either a water authority or a utility. So it's being handled very differently by a lot of people. The original impacts on some of the data centers that went in early, where not as much consideration was given to this, are not faring that well with the public. So I would say of these three components, the part to consider most of all is how the noise is going to impact the local residents. The buffering of that sound is going to be considerable. And I think that the board should investigate hiring an acoustical engineer at some point to discuss the best ways to lessen the impact of that sound. I am going to say, where I live, there's a cement plant nearby, several. It's 24/7. Day and night. I can hear that day and night. And that's not as much as the noise from the data center from everything I've seen. So I would stress that that's probably the biggest thing, the biggest consideration to look at. Then I put together a number of things to consider because there needs to be a use established for a data center because currently there's warehousing and there's office and the data center is basically a mix of the two. So while it's storing computer components, it's not storing it for resale. It's storing it for day-to-day use, which is much more of an office type use. But it's in a bigger building than an office. So we've seen situations early on where they look at warehousing, but it's not really a warehouse. So it's a new use. And as technology changes over time, there are going to be other new uses. And I found this when I was working at another municipality when Amazon came in. That was a big adjustment for that particular community to figure out how to make that work. Fortunately, that area is near me where there's a ton of warehouses, and they changed the use of the warehouse to accommodate the Amazon facility. So it was vehicles coming in and out, unlike a tractor trailer. And so they could accommodate the parking of those vehicles and the storage of the goods. So they changed that use to accommodate them. And that's a relatively new use for years and years and years, people went to stores, and now much more of this is online. So that is an example of a new use. The data center is clearly a new use. There's not been a situation where there had to be that much computer storage in one location. So there's things to consider about that, the water part of this, which I think it would be good to have more information from the water authority on what they're actually looking at. But this equipment uses a lot of heat, but it's no different than a laptop, which is why they tell you don't put them on your furniture because they get hot. And I actually know a landlord where his tenant set the house on fire because they left the laptop on the sofa. So you multiply that by, you know, a great deal more computer capacity. So, you know, there's not been that use where you had to manage something that way. So how do you manage that? Well, the first thing would be through zoning classification and definitions. You have to clearly define that use. And one of the things I learned at these seminars, lots of attorneys at these seminars, and absolutely everyone said, language is the key. You must be clear in how you define this use. So I would spend some time going over how you clearly want to define that use. And I'm sure that Scott would be invaluable, and Justin, in participating with that. The other part of the zoning is whether it's going to be by right, conditional use, or special exception. There are some municipalities that chose to do this by right, but they had locations where they could buffer it properly and they didn't have as much of an impact on the community. They liked the data center because the data center was an influx of money to the township or the municipality. But by right, they felt they could clearly manage that whole situation through zoning ordinance. Conditional use, special exception, you have a lot more control over when somebody is looking at the use. You have the ability to put conditions on that use to protect the community, to protect the residents. Location is something else to consider. Obviously, you have to have this use in a zoning district somewhere, but where? Especially in a township that is not quite as big as a municipality that has, you know, thousands and thousands of acres. So location is something to be regarded, and within that component, you have setbacks, lot sizes, you know, size limits, the height limits of the data center. The one thing I can say about height that I think you should consider is that there's essentially a racking component to a data center. So if something's 60 feet, 100 feet, that means that they're racking layers just like in a warehouse. One of the reasons they push these tall warehouses is because they can rack more storage in a smaller footprint. This is sort of the same thought process by the data centers. They want a smaller footprint, so they're essentially racking layers of the computer equipment. Again, there's the utility usage, the current grid. Will the current grid support that? One of the things that I did learn through doing some of this research was the data centers like this Philadelphia area, because the utility grid is continually being upgraded, and they're planning for more electrical infrastructure. So the anywhere that's near that PECO, like I said, PECO is really planning for this. The data, that's obviously an advantage to the data center to be able to have that. Now, I did talk a little bit about the noise control. That I think is probably going to require the most discussion, and I would advise professional guidance on that. What is starting to happen now that these data centers are set up, is that there's a lot of impact on not just the wildlife, it's affecting farms, it's affecting the productivity of the different types of livestock that's on the farms, and it's severely impacting health and wealth, of health and health, well-being of residents. So more of these reports come back about these impacts. And again, of the things that are going to require more managing by the township, I can't reiterate enough that the noise, how that, the vibration, humming, how is it going to be measured? Is it going to be measured at the property line? Does this vibrate through the ground? That all has to be carefully considered. Something else that had occurred to me, that the Uniform Construction Code has energy efficiency standards by law. So I don't know if there's a correlation between those standards and the use that's here. They clearly don't meet the same energy requirements that the Uniform Construction Code imposes. So I think taking a look at the building codes in addition to forming zoning would be worth considering. Then there's safety and security. There's the site that has to be managed, whether or not people can access that site, how easy it is, how the parameters are protected. There's the data security. That's a whole nother field that needs to be reviewed and regarded. Then there's environmental impact. But one of the things that data centers do is they often talk about the financial security of how they participate with schools. Again, the money, it's about the money. So they do discuss that. So that's what it's a lot, really a lot to look at in, I think, a short period of time. There's a number of ordinances, and I've gotten some from the Planning Commission. I got some from these seminars. So there's things out there to take a look at. But this is a really unique community. It's big enough to be comfortable for open area, but it's small enough to be like a family. It's just a beautiful, I love Bucks County. It reminds me of where I grew up on Long Island. It's a beautiful, beautiful community. And I think of absolutely anything impacting this community, the data center is probably, we're talking about a global issue here. So it just needs a lot of consideration, and I'm certainly available to participate in all of this, just as the rest of your staff. But it needs to be addressed.
And if I could put a fine point on Ms. Curtin's presentation, just to summarize briefly, really the point that this is coming to the board and really just as an open presentation for the public's benefit is, as Ms. Curtin pointed out, there is a hole in our zoning ordinance, which is typical of pretty much all of us municipalities in the Commonwealth and the country. And in recognizing the state laws at play here, we believe it's in the township's best interest to establish regulations, because absent doing so, we don't have any parameters in terms of what, if one of these were to come to New Britain Township, what they might look like. And so by having this conversation and the staff's recommendation and consultants is to begin the process to create some parameters on data centers, is not simply saying, please come in, build these, as much as it is, if they are to come in, this is a very specific description of what they have to look like in order to meet our standards. And so I just wanted to make sure that that is clear out there for everybody listening.
Any questions from the board for Ms. Curtin?
Thank you very much for detailed information about it.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
I have one question. You mentioned the noise problem, and then you mentioned building code. Do you think that there has there been any talk about building requirements of soundproofing internally of the building rather than soundproofing outside?
I don't know if that's part of the code. I certainly could find that out. It's a good idea. There's plenty of construction materials that would make that work. Well, what actually has been done, I don't know. And I certainly can have that conversation with Dan Jenkins. He might have a better answer for you about that.
That's our building inspector, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Anybody else? Are there any questions from the public for Ms. Curtin? Okay. Well, thank you very much for your presentation.
You're welcome.
Very informative. Old business, moving on, number 5A, consider a motion to appoint a member to the Planning Commission. Do I have a motion to appoint a member to the Planning Commission?
I'd like to make a motion to appoint John Deal to the Planning Commission.
I'd like to second that motion.
Any other motions? Any discussion by the board?
I just would like to say thank you to the couple of people who did submit to interviews that hadn't been interviewed by the township before. We appreciate them taking the time to interview with Bridget and I.
They were both very enthusiastic and they both seemed like very good candidates, so.
I call the motion. All those in favor of appointing John Deal to the Planning Commission, say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
No, I said.
Oh, you said aye, okay.
I'm-
I wasn't sure. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, moving on to number 6, motion to consider the consent agenda. A, approve minutes of June 15th, 2026 Board of Supervisors meeting. B, approve regular bill list as follows, dated July 1st, 2026, for a total amount of $134,000, 466.18 cents. C, approve prepaid bill list as follows, dated June 18th, 2026, dated June 25th, 2026, and dated July 1st, 2026, for a total amount of $296,035.29. D, consider a motion to approve the settlement and general release agreement between CNC Paving, Jacques Prou, and Sealmaster, and MMG Insurance Company and New Britain Township. Should we have any discussion on that, or Scott?
No, this is the spill on Sellersville Road. And it's the cleanup and it's covering the costs.
Thank you. And E, consider a motion to adopt Resolution 2026-07, disposal of records. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Any discussion by the public? Hearing none, I call the motion. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Moving on to number 7, action items. A, consider a motion to declare a zoning ordinance invalid as it pertains to data center use and direct the township solicitor to prepare a resolution to initiate the curative amendment process. Scott, can you explain this, please?
Sure, yeah, this is just a continuation of Doreen's presentation and the next step to follow. There was 2 avenues really we could go down. One is this process, or the other would be to start drafting an ordinance. Obviously, we recommend going down this process because what it does is gives us basically 6 months before we need to adopt an ordinance or declare, again, finalize and declare your ordinance valid. This will give us the time to review all the ordinances out there. It's very I don't want to say cumbersome because it's not cumbersome. It's just there's no real model ordinance that's going to fit for New Britain or any one municipality. You need to look at things, all the different items that Doreen mentioned, but other big things as well are property size, zoning locations, setbacks, all those things and how they would fit. Because it's one thing to come up with a use, but it's it's another issue of whether you're allowing it. And we'll talk a little bit about this a little bit more in item D, but there are still theoretically ways people could challenge it just because you say it's allowed. But if you make it so difficult for them to make it, it becomes an issue. So we need to make sure that as we do this under your ordinance, that it could theoretically be something that could be built as a proper use. As you all know, and as Doreen mentioned, a data center right now in Pennsylvania is a lawful use. There are 2 bills in the Senate and House running through right now where they're talking about a moratorium to try and allow municipalities to do what we're doing as well and give us some time. But until that happens, a data center is a lawful use. There is one that's being constructed and almost finalized right now in Falls Township. There's another one that's been proposed in West Rock Hill Township. And, under constitutional law, the takings clause, people are allowed to use their properties for a productive, lawful use. And this way would allow this to get the proper regulations, putting it in the correct zoning code. As Nick mentioned, if someone were to come in right now, file a substantive validity challenge, we'd have a lot harder time of regulating A, where it goes, B, how big the property, and all the secondary effects Doreen mentioned. So this will give us that 6-month period to really flush through these ordinances, figure out what actually works here in New Britain, and present it to you guys as well. Just to follow up to that, 2 municipalities in this county have done this already. Doylestown and Bensalem both did it last month. So you'll see, we'll have their process and see what they've done. East Rock Hill and West Rock Hill, as I mentioned, the West Rock Hill one that's been talked about, have both gone the way of presenting ordinances, and that has not been the easiest process for them. Again, this will give us the time to really flush it out and explain it, as well as answer questions from the public over time versus coming forward with something that everyone has to review in a matter of minutes. So,
Okay. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I'll second that.
I believe the motion should be, I move to declare the New Britain Township or zoning ordinance as invalid as it fails to define a data center use and direct the solicitor to prepare the necessary resolution for the curative amendment process pursuant to section 609.2 of the Pennsylvania Municipalities Planning Code. Do I have that motion?
Do you want to?
Okay. Do I have a second to that motion?
We'll second that motion.
Thank you. Any discussion by the board?
I'd just like to say that the EAC had sent us a memo in November that we had in front of us. So I think we have started some of the gathering of information from our staff and our respective advisory boards. I know that the Planning Commission was.
Planning Commission has a whole lot of information that they're in the process of reviewing and ready. They want to discuss it in a future meeting.
So if Nick, what would be a good process to go ahead with this?
Sure. So by law, because this is a zoning ordinance, the Planning Commission has a formal role to play in the approval process. I would certainly recommend that, all necessary staff and consultants participate in this process just because it is such a significant topic. And certainly where relevant, I think the EAC certainly has a role to play in that advisory process. And we can talk internally about whether it makes sense to participate ahead of the Planning Commission or participate with them.
Any other discussion by the board?
No.
Is there any discussion from the public on this motion? Hearing none, I call the motion. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Thank you. 7B, consider a motion to authorize drafting and advertisement of an ordinance to appoint the Bucks County Tax Claim Bureau as the collector of delinquent real estate taxes. Alex, would you care to illuminate us on this?
Sure. So the board is being asked to consider a motion to authorize the drafting and advertisement of an ordinance to appoint the Bucks County Tax Claim Bureau as the collector of delinquent real estate taxes. So right now, New Britain Township already uses the Bucks County Tax Claim Bureau as our delinquent real estate tax collector. That relationship isn't changing. Nicole Persetti is our real estate tax collector. She collects current year and prior year. That's all staying the same. What is changing is the fee structure under which the Bucks County Tax Claim Bureau operates on our behalf. So how does it currently work? Right now, under current law, the township retains 95% of collected delinquent taxes, with 5% going to the Tax Claim Bureau as a commission. The Bureau has proposed moving to a hybrid method under the Municipal Claims and Tax Liens Act. And this would shift collection costs directly onto the delinquent taxpayer rather than being taken from what we receive as revenue. As a result, the township would get 100% of its delinquent taxes rather than just 95%. So what the ordinance actually does is it establishes a penalty, interest, and fee schedule that authorizes this arrangement. It would set interest at 9% per annum on unpaid taxes and fixes collection fees at 5%, plus 1% for attorney's fees. And again, this all gets charged to the delinquent property owner, not the township. These are all terms that the Tax Claim Bureau has set. Why should we do this? There's a lot of practical benefits for the township. We would get more revenue from delinquencies, and it's no cost for us to opt in. Last year, we collected about $43,500 in delinquent real estate taxes, and if this ordinance were in place then, we would have pulled in about $2,300 more, and that's all money that goes towards our roads, our parks, our operational costs, et cetera. So the Tax Claim Bureau has asked municipalities who wish to participate to adopt an ordinance by September 30th in order to implement the new structure for the 2027 tax year. And if the board concurs, the motion would be to advertise the ordinance, and a draft ordinance has been included in the packet for your reference.
Do I have a motion to advertise the ordinance?
I will make that motion to advertise the ordinance.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion by the board?
Has our solicitor looked over this?
Yes, so, yeah, looking at it, we're taking our interest in it. So, and just to add on what Mr. Nagy, Alex said, he talked about the hybrid approach. So there's actually two laws for tax collection in Pennsylvania. The Tax Claim Bureau normally operates under what's called the real estate tax sale law. It's a longer, intensive process, whereas the one they're asking you to allow them to collect under is the Municipal Claims and Tax Lien Act. It can actually be done a little bit quicker. It doesn't have to be, there's very strict deadlines in the real estate tax collection law, RETSL, that it's basically it's years out before they can fully collect the taxes or go through a sale if someone has a very high total. MCTLA, weeks. I use that loosely because there's still length to the process, but it doesn't have those strict annual deadlines that the other law has. So it's an extra way of doing it. It's just another way for them to collect. And, Alex bringing up the budgetary items is, yeah, this way, under RETSL, under the first way, it's statutory who gets what. This way, it's more discretionary, and that's where the fee schedule comes in, and they're able to turn over the entire tax revenue to us because additional costs are then pushed off onto the delinquent property owners.
Any other comments by the board? Any public comment? Hearing none, I call the motion. All those in favor of advertising the ordinance, please say aye. Aye. Passes. Okay. C, consider a motion to award a bid for the pavement marking project to Alpha Space Contractors. Nick?
So on behalf of Public Works, on June 24th, New Britain Township requested quotes for their annual line striping and thermal project. Upon receiving 3 quotes, it is suggested and proposed that New Britain Township go with the lowest bidder, which was the Alpha Space Control LLC company. While New Britain Township hasn't used them in the past, our neighbors have and have said good things.
Do I have a motion to award the bid?
So moved.
Have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
I'm glad to see that it's under budget.
Alex, did you say the amount?
I did not.
I believe it's 19,000.
I was gonna say $19,049.96.
Any comment from the public? Hearing none, I call the motion to award the bid. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
D, discussion of zoning hearing board matters. 56 Walnut Street, substantive validity challenge.
Yes, I hinted at this briefly in my prior discussion about item A, just because it's just sort of the same process. HCI DP land acquisition, the developer who's proposed the 3 warehouses on the property, has filed what's called a substantive validity challenge. They're challenging our ordinance, meaning that it is a de facto exclusion of warehouses. Their argument is they need to go over our 35-foot height building limits. We've had testimony from them from the zoning hearing board with regard to a variance which they lost. Our recommendation is this is your township ordinance. You need to defend it. So, it would be prudent to direct us to go there and defend the ordinance.
Board comments?
I think we've established the height restrictions for the township, and we've fought it so far, so I think we should continue the fight.
There are ordinances. We should be fighting to enforce them. So I agree that Scott should go, or Justin, whoever.
Bridget?
Yes, I fully agree. We have established a sense of community in the way that we want our community to look and feel. And I think we create these ordinances to comply with that for all the benefit of all of our residents. And I would agree to send Scott/Justin to a post.
Cynthia?
I concur with all fellow board members, and please send our solicitors to the zoning hearing board.
I concur also. Any public comment, discussion? Action item E.
Do we need
Oh, we need to vote,
officially
right?
vote
Yes.
on that, or do we need to officially vote?
You don't need to
Thank you.
officially vote on it. It's like you have a broad enough consensus
Okay.
and we're already a party, so.
E, motion to award the 2026-2027 Bucks County Fuel Consortium bid.
Hi, me again. On behalf of Public Works. So on June 12th, fuel bids were opened by a Bucks County consortium. And upon receiving those bids, it was found that Riggins Inc. was the lowest bidder for the unleaded regular gasoline and ultra-low sulfur diesel fuel, and that Ports Petroleum was the lowest bidder for number 2 heating oil. It's also important to note that last year, it was 10 cents cheaper for the regular unleaded gasoline and the ultra-low sulfur diesel fuel, and it was 12 cents cheaper for the number 2 heating oil. So it has gone up.
Okay.
I'm so surprised.
I know.
Let's lock it in now.
Any board comment, discussion?
Oh, no, just my comment. Let's lock it in now.
Any other board discussion? No? Do I have a motion to,
I'll make a motion to award the lowest bidder, Riggins Inc. for the unleaded and ultra low sulfur diesel, and the lowest qualified bidder, Ports Petroleum, for number 2 heating oil.
I'll second that.
No, it's fine. Either one was.
any public comment or discussion? Hearing none, I call the motion. All those in favor to award the bid as stated, say aye.
Aye.
Information items, departmental reports, finance. Mr. Nagy.
So this is exciting. This is, I think, the first meeting that is later in the month, so I can actually provide relatively timely information. The township is officially halfway through the fiscal year and finances continue to be right on target. Our general fund expenditures stand at 46% of budget, which is below 50%. That's great. On the revenue side, real estate tax collections have come in at about 94%. That's $2.7 million across all funds. I just received another check for $130,000 today, so woohoo, getting very close. But yes, we have strong collection performance heading into the second half of the year. My topic tonight, just talking about some finance committee recommendations. These are things that we're going to be bringing up at a future finance committee meeting. We're looking into finally consolidating some of our bank accounts, which is very exciting. Township currently maintains 47 bank accounts and certificates of deposit across 3 different institutions. We are recommending the closure and consolidation of approximately 23 of those. That's going to simplify our monthly reconciliations, reduce administrative burden, and just improve our overall cash management practices. In terms of the certificates of deposit and their reinvestment, those CDs matured yesterday. We have about $5.6 million, because it's gone up a little bit in terms of what's currently invested with certificates of deposit. We've looked into a couple different avenues of facility or institutions that we work with of where to invest that has the best rates. We're going to be talking about this a little bit more at the finance committee, but essentially we do want to combine all 8 of those CDs into one. Again, we can have multiple funds in the same CD. It just makes the administration a little bit easier. Last but not least, we're also looking at some of our financial policies, including our weekly bill runs, our cash receipting procedures, and most exciting, we're exploring the introduction of credit card payment options for our residents. That meeting is happening in the next 2 weeks, so hopefully by the end of the year, we will be accepting credit card payments. So yes, and that's it for finance.
Actually, Alex, I have a question.
Sure.
So since you would be consolidating all the certificates of deposit into one, what happens if we need some of that money? Because I know some of it comes from different parts of their fund balances. So what would happen?
Yes. So part of what we're doing right now in our presentation at that finance committee meeting is we're going to do a cash flow analysis. I also want to reconfigure all of the CDs. Right now, they're all on 12-month terms. I'm going to put them at 6-month terms because most of our cash flow issues happen at the beginning of the year until that real estate tax revenue comes in. So that'll at least get us closer to the beginning of the year. And again, also with that cash flow analysis, if there's certain funds that it doesn't make sense to invest all that money in, then maybe we don't put the full $5.5 million in. But again, the nuance of these different funds is something that we will be talking about more, I think, in that finance committee meeting.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Okay, thank you.
So you're saying that all of our CDs have come due?
Yes, as of yesterday. And I talked to the bank. Technically, we have up to 10 days if we wanted to roll them over and just keep them all open. But ideally, I think the approach that I would rather take is close them all, have them go back into their bank accounts, and then just open up one new one out of the different funds. And then
Because we were told that sometime in the not too distant past that we had these CDs laddered,
okay.
but that is not true.
That would mean they all come due at different times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's possible that some of them were 12-month terms and some of them were 6-month terms, and they all are just coming due right now.
Okay.
So maybe
Okay.
they were laddered in that sense.
So we'll only need to have one signature card signed in the future.
Yes.
Great. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, Public Works. We're just nothing really to report except the progress on our new playground.
Yes.
That's actually Park and Rec. I was gonna chime in on.
Oh, okay.
I know Bill May's not here.
All right, we'll move on to Park and Rec.
All right. Bill has in his May and June reports. The May report shows the start of the construction and of the drainage facilities that went along with the tot lot over at North Branch. And then the June report shows which is some nice pictures there, the initial construction, installation, and then the final install of everything. I think it looks really nice. And the reason I wanted to talk about it was Bill did a great job. We provide Ryan, Janine did a lot of work on that. And it was, back and forth for a while. We didn't get the grant, and Bill took it and ran with it and did a great job. I said, Bill, you never called us. And he said, got under control, but I know was very passionate. He wanted to move on this like 5 years ago.
Years ago when it was supposed to.
Yeah, and he was chomping at the bit, and he went through a couple changes at staff level. So I want to just shout out to him that he did a great job handling it without any involvement from us from the start of construction on. It looks great. Everything's working great. And that saved you some money of not having Janine and I run out there or a survey or stormwater engineers. So, yeah,
Great.
so that is complete. North Branch tot lot.
I believe if I remember correctly from the last time I spoke with Bill, Bill May, that he also said that everything was pushed in, so there is no interference now with, I think, where the electrical or gas.
Yeah, that was where him and Janine worked on some different
Yeah.
layouts to
Because
try to
that was
avoid
all
the Texas Eastern, the gas line and some other utility issues.
He was very passionate about making sure that nothing gets torn up after we make our beautiful park.
Is there any info or idea of when the new pavilion will be?
It's funny, you were asking, and I didn't see that in here, so it's not my report, remember?
Okay, I get it.
No, actually, I don't know. Maybe Alex and Nick could follow up on that, and they can have an update for you the next meeting, but it will not include stone pillars, though. I do know that.
For having a
believe we're,
concrete floor.
Concrete
What,
floor.
well, yes.
I believe we're anticipating the new pavilion to be ready to go by Fall Fest. But I will make sure that we get you a clear answer for that.
Okay, thank you. Police chief.
Yes, Madam Chair, you have a copy of my monthly report in your packet. I just want to highlight a few things. One, we did receive the 3 vehicles that were purchased with capital funds. They're in the process of being upfitted. So that's a good thing because we just lost one.
Oh,
Well, I have to talk to Ryan about that. We do have a couple events coming up. Cram the Cruiser School Supply Drive with Kona Ice will be held at the Giant Shopping Center or New Britain Village Square on this Saturday from 11 to 1. So we're hoping to collect some more back to school supplies because we'll be doing a Christmas in July campaign on July 24th to distribute them to those kids that are in need. We also have our Battle of the Badges Blood Drive on July 30th from 1 to 6. That'll be held at Chalfont Fire Company. So it's kind of us against them. So if you come out and give blood, tell them you're there to give blood for the police department. All right. And then, so then we get a nice little trophy and plaque and all. So we're hoping to do well with that. And then we'll be participating in National Night Out on August 4th in Doylestown at Central Park.
Oh, Chief, was there any items in particular that were needed for the Creme de Cruiser event? Or
Is there any
any particular items that were needed more so than other?
they do have an inventory. We just got some stuff donated from Walmart today. But we can always use more like cleaning wipes,
Okay, right.
tissues,
Okay.
stuff like that that the kids have to kind of bring in,
Right.
for the classrooms.
Great, thank you.
Township manager report. And this is your first official township manager report.
Yes, thank you very much. I'm happy to be here. I know that I briefly was here for the last meeting in June, but I just wanted to thank board, staff, the community for the warm welcome I've had over the last couple of weeks. I've completed 3 weeks on the job. This is my first official meeting with you all. It's been an incredible journey. I've been in municipal management for 8 years now in Bucks County. So very happy to be a little bit closer to my current home. And I've really enjoyed getting to know everybody and getting to know this community better. And I'm really looking forward to making a sizable difference here. I've really been energized by the passion that the board has, the professionalism and excitement of the staff. And I think we're really going to make some exciting progress here.
Thank you. Engineers report.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. You have our June engineers report. I just want to make one addition to the report. The chief had asked me at staff meeting, and I don't think I've gotten any other questions yet, but the Maple Avenue traffic study, I almost said calming.
I was going to ask you about that, yes.
I knew it was
It's
coming.
not on your report.
So Leslie Boganoff, your traffic engineer for my office, finalized it. I don't know if you had told everybody, but she also moved into the township about a year ago. So maybe I'll do is try to coordinate a meeting now here. I think you've met her at PSATs, but as Nick found out, we don't have a lot of traffic projects, so you haven't seen your traffic engineer since ever. I don't know. So anyway, we finalized that. We supported, in general, we supported what the chief and the police department found out. We'll have some implementation of how to go forward with that. Not only that specific site or road, but actually throughout the township and what policies you should establish that PennDOT's going to ask for. And we've had, Leslie handles Montgomery Township, big township. So we've been through it before in other townships as well, but they would like to see some type of policy standard on when you do traffic calming, how we do it. And I think you already have a big piece in place with the chief and his staff. So that's taken care of. And then how we evaluate them as a board and from the, I'll say political level, but from every resident wants traffic calming. So we get that a lot. We've said no a lot, but I think it's time to establish a policy on that as well and move forward then with that project or others in the township. So I'll have that done and finalized, and then we'll decide whether or not we're going to do a presentation. I'll talk to Nick about that. It might be a bigger discussion about, traffic improvements throughout the township. So that's the only thing that's not in my report, but I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Putting aside the high-level policy of traffic calming, are you looking at specific implementation of traffic calming devices?
Well,
on
for Maple Avenue specifically, yeah, our summary is the same, a conclusion that speed table will be the only thing with a road that narrow, only 18 feet, a short distance. One thing was about truck restrictions. It's currently, I guess, is restricted, but you have no report or study backing that up for enforcement. So she is recommending that we do at the same time. I think I'm in the ballpark. Alex always asks me how much, so I asked her to give me a quote, but I think it's around, $7,000 to $10,000 for that. We have to do all the now, and there may be some stuff that the chief can do and staff that we can then just save money, and then we can use that data instead. But speed table would be the only thing to do.
Would they be striped and marked leading up to them, or it's? Sorry, my.
It's make it a surprise.
No, we're just gonna make them black, dark, and you don't know they're there.
That's
Just like that.
only raising this because some of my neighbors were like, make sure that they have really good markings.
If they like, we'll do
I was like,
flashing
and I was
beacons
like, I
too, but they won't
wish
like
they'd
that.
Be invisible, but.
No, they'll have the PennDOT, we follow PennDOT standards. There may be a couple different options, and I will explore those with you and your neighbors and the chief.
I'm just giving feedback.
Yeah.
I was at.
Well, we have some exhibits some
Yeah.
examples of other projects in the report, so.
To reassure them.
Yeah.
I said, it's gonna be okay. Be
Appropriate. It's
professional.
whether really there's one or two, I think, is the issue on that short stretch. Usually you try to do.
We have other streets that are used for cut throughs,
As well.
as Maple is, that I have heard from the several representatives that they too would like something done. So if we are successful with Maple, then we will have other areas we can take a look at.
And just, the reason I haven't issued it yet is it's Mr. Nagy's fault because he keeps asking me for numbers, and Nick now asks for numbers. So Leslie was away a little bit, vacations and some family emergency. So I wanted to put some ballpark construction numbers in. I know I keep hitting up Alex with soft costs, but it would be nice for you to evaluate the cost, just ballpark, and Nick operates that way as well. So I'm asking that to be included in the report before we issue it.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Any other questions? Okay.
Sorry. My pen fell apart.
Is it a full moon tonight or something?
Opposite.
It's a new moon. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Board of Supervisors comments.
Want me to start?
I'll start with Stephanie, yes.
Sure.
I think this will probably be a common theme from all of us, but thank you to Sue, to our police department, to our public works, to all of our township staff who were here for the parade, to all of our volunteers who helped for the parade. As always, it was a fantastic event. It was great to see residents out watching and taking care of themselves in the heat because it was quite the warm day. But I think it was a great way to add a little bit of celebration to America's 250th this year. And thank you to everyone who put in all the hard work for that.
Even though I could not be there in person, I got a report back that went very well appreciated and very well attended. And again, I appreciate all the work that our staff across the board puts in putting that together every year.
Same. It was a wonderful parade. Great to see everybody out on the day. I'm glad that it rained the night before. It was a little cooler. Do not like those kinds of days. Everybody be safe for the next heat wave. Tomorrow, yes, starting tomorrow for 4 days. So please be careful. I did want to bring up that I had attended late middle of last month, a presentation by Senator Steve Santicero. He had been looking into trying to do a blue zone project in his Senate district. That will not happen because of the cost, as it was going to be led by the 5 health hospitals and things in the district. So he did a presentation of what would be a smaller version of trying to do blue zones. And if you don't know what a blue zone is, it's one of the ones is somewhere in the Greek islands where it's live healthy, eat good food, be more connected with your community, walk more kind of thing. So there are some action items he's thinking that could be good for each individual municipality to look at. So I'd like to bring it forward to the rest of the board so that they could read it and have a look at it and see if it's something that we could incorporate in some of our boards and commissions to just look into. So.
She stole what I was going to say. No, everybody did. I'm kidding. It was a wonderful 4th of July. I was shocked to see how many people and residents we had that came out because of the heat was so significant, and that it all went off, and how many. I think, did we have more floats and participants this year than we've had in quite some time, right? It seemed very busy trying to get everyone in line and lined up to participate. So that was very exciting. It was great to see everyone. And I'm super glad that everyone was able to be safe. We had cooling zones. There were the medics and everything were very proactive, and our police and everyone else, and making sure that everyone stayed safe. So thank you for all of that, for all of the work in maintaining the safety, not just of the perimeter, but of the safety of the individual participants. And please check on any, if you have any single senior neighbors that may or may not be aware of the heat wave, just check on them, make sure they're okay. And I think that was about it. Are you going to check on each other? Okay, great. You're still good. Stay inside. That's it. Yes, please stay inside, stay cool. Don't do anything and put yourself at risk. We don't want any tragedies. And we love all of you guys. So yeah, that's it. Oh, and on Saturday, if you can make it out, come drop some donations off for Crib the Cruiser.
And you'll get a cone of ice.
And you're going to go to ice. Yes.
We'll have cone ice there so you can cool off at the same.
There you go. Cool off and make a donation.
Stephanie, you had something else?
One thing that I forgot to mention about the parade, special thank you to Mike Coleman and Coleman Hay Farms for giving us a ride.
Oh, yes.
Yes,
thank you.
Very much appreciated.
Oh, yes.
And I will just follow along with that on everyone who worked on the parade, especially Sue Gelb, who put it all together and did a lot of work and has done a great job for all our special events in the township. I also want to thank our public works and police. We've had a few strange storms. Fortunately, it appears we've missed the worst of them, but there's always something going on, and you know, they're keeping us safe and keeping the roads clear. And just once again, want to welcome our new manager. to the township, Nick Valla, and looking forward to working with him. Announcements, I'm sorry, is there any public comment on anything that was not on the agenda or even on the agenda? Yes. Please come forward and state your name.
My name's Jerry Reuter. I'm from Chalfont, 352 Stony Hill. And I'm grateful to all of you for what you do, but I just want to put a shout out for Bill May on Public Works. I know it's a little thing. We're EAC and we have a little garden in the back and one over here by where it used to be a snack bar. But he has been phenomenal in keeping all of our containers full. And this heat wave, you're right, it's been a really hard job. He's never given us a problem and they've been full every time we go over there. So I just want him to be recognized for what he does.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I would add on to the stay inside unless you have to be outside watering your gardens early in the morning or late
Late at
afternoon.
night when it's cooler.
Any other comment? Not, I'll move on to announcements. The Planning Commission meeting will be Tuesday, July 28th at 7 PM. The Veterans Committee meeting, the Zoning Hearing Board meeting, have been canceled for July. The Board of Supervisors meeting for July 20th has been canceled, and the Park and Rec meeting has been canceled on July 21st. The next meeting of the Board of Supervisors will take place on Monday, August 3rd at 7 PM at the Township Building.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
It'll be right after the next board
So it'll
meeting
be announced at our board meeting.
on the.
Oh, so that would be after the next board meeting. But FYI, if you're interested.
It will be August
Fifth.
5th
Okay.
At 7 PM.
7 PM. Okay. All right. Do I have a motion to adjourn this meeting at 8:08 PM?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
If everyone wants to say.
I'll second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Sorry, I didn't realize you were gesturing to me.
No,
You were like,